You hear that?
It's a recording in process.
Hi, my name's Madigan Moynihan. I am the writer of Tell Your Dad I Like His Music.wordpress.com.
And I'm her dad, Kevin Moynihan. People tell her that they like my music.
Today, we are going to be breaking down and assessing the Fashion Nugget album by Cake. Your first category on our rubric is the album cover. I personally give this album cover a 3 out of 5. I think it's kind of boring.
I hear you. I hear you. But the thing about Cake, if you look at all their album covers, they use these kind of old stock photos and graphics from like the 50s and 60s that were on like public health brochures and things like that. So it's overall, if you look at the overall theme of their album covers, they're really kind of cool, kind of pop arty type of thing like that. This one's true. This is not real exciting, but so I would say for this particular album, I'd like to say I'd probably give it a 3, but for their overall catalog of albums, definitely a 4 or 5 for their kind of use of a theme throughout their whole catalog.
Good. I can agree with that. Okay, for lyrical mood, I'd like you to go first.
Lyrical. Well, Cake is one of my, I hate to say favorite bands, but kind of is, but it's for different reasons. It's if you're a fan of sarcasm like we are with our family, then you've got to love their lyrics because they are so sarcastic. And they'll take beautiful melodies but have the most depressing lyrics along with them and that type of thing. Or take a subject or a situation that is such a boring subject, sing it in this real deadpan thing, but to some 60s bossa nova trumpets, and it sounds great. It's this kind of weird thing. So the lyrics from Cake always catch me because they're so out there, so strange. I mean, sheep go to heaven, goats go to hell. I mean, things like that. Just you're like, wait, what did they just say? So it's one where I really go back and read a lot of lyrics, and sometimes they don't make any sense at all. But the fact that you don't know what to expect each second, which so much music today is just a formula. You say baby, 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 and you do 3 verses and this type of thing. And so that's what I think is so neat about them. So I would say lyrics. I'm just going to go ahead and give you a 4.5. No, I'm going to say 5. 5.
Whoa, 5. I was going to go 4.5.
Okay, I'm going to go 5 on that.
Of how like outlandish they are. Like Italian Leather Sofa has some lines in it that I'm like, why? Like, why were you writing a song and you're like, yep, this is it. Write this down.
The kids are going to dig this. Yeah.
Yeah, this is really going to get them. Personally, there's not any Cake songs that a bridge just like pops into my head. Like, I feel like most of their music is pretty, I mean, like they have bridges obviously, but they aren't like super duper dramatic to the point where I'm like, oh my gosh, the bridge in this song is just like so crazy good.
The one that stands out for me, like you're right. So like as a traditional bridge, they're not huge into that, but they do have good bridges. But kind of going back to why I like Cake about how they're so just untraditional is the bridge. You mentioned Italian Leather. So I mean, the bridge starts as kind of the solo and the trumpet solo and things like that. And then it kind of breaks down, but it's still in the bridge chords. And that's when he does the whole bridge lyrics about how to operate a knife with the serrated edge, and you push it back and forth. It's a simple machine. I mean, it's the weirdest thing. Again, a whole bridge written about how to use a knife.
And then how to put the stuff he cut into a Ziploc bag.
And put it back in the freezer. I mean, and it's not that he says it once. He repeats that, I think, a good 3 times in that bridge. And it's droning on that 1 or 2 notes in that bridge. And it's almost like it builds tension as he does it. And so when it finally breaks out of that bridge and goes back into the verse chorus type of thing, it's almost like a relief. It's really cool. So it's a very non-traditional bridge, but I would, for things like that, I hate to score so high all the time. I'm gonna give a 4 for bridges.
I'll give him a 4 as well because as we've talked about that bridge, I kind of remember it because you said he says it 3 times. Doesn't every time he say it, they add another harmony?
I think you're right.
Like
You're
another
right.
vocal line gets added in.
Exactly right on that.
That's why I bumped it from a 3.5 to a 4. Okay, last category is catchiness. And I give them a 5 out of 5 on this one because in songs like The Distance, which is just like a super high paced song the whole time, I even get stuck singing like the trumpet parts. Like usually I get caught up on words, but there's just so many instruments in that song that it's like you have so much to listen to and so much to get stuck in your head. So I feel like they deserve a 5.
Yeah, and well, the time frame again for me again, this was awesome. This came out, I believe, like in '96, and yeah, it's just I was just a few years out of college and going to a ton of concerts, and I went to this one. As a matter of fact, for this album, the Fashion Nugget, they came through Dallas. It was at the Bomb Factory, and it's funny. I just knew the song "The Distance" at the time, which is kind of has that weird hip hop beat behind it and stuff. I didn't realize how lounge music they kind of were overall, or all the different styles. And um, some of the songs on this album, almost like alt country, like a stick shifts and safety belts. That could be an old '97 song. It's got that train beat drums. And then again, you've got Going the Distance is kind of almost like a hip hop type of thing, rock. And then they have '60s show tunes and stuff on here too. But somehow it all comes together in this real catchy thing. Which again, even though it's lots of sarcastic and deadpan delivery and stuff, the mix of instruments, just trumpets out of nowhere and stuff like that. It really, I mean, the term catchiness, it catches your attention. It doesn't really let you go. So 5, big more 5.
I just noticed the dogs on the couch in the back.
Delilah's over there. Hey, Delilah. Hey, say hi. Come here.